Coach, appreciate you joining us. We'll get some questions for you.
So, first of all, Coach, during all those rain delays, what are you telling your guys? What are you doing to keep loose and stay focused?
Yeah, that's a challenge. We kind of knew that was coming, just looking at the forecast and everything. Knew it may be a long night. Very thankful to be at home. Been a part of a few of those over in Alcorn, Mississippi. We still won the game, but it's not fun when you're on the road. But being at home gives you some options, and so we've got space at home a little bit. It's old space, but it's still our space. And so told the guys, just get off your feet, enjoy the moment. Embrace these moments. This will be a game that you remember forever because you may spend all night in this locker room. It may be 6 a.m. before we finish. And so the guys had fun with it. Some went laid down in the training room. We had a pool game going. Some were playing ping pong. We had a freestyle contest going. They tried to get me to freestyle. I was terrible, but we had fun with it. And that's the main thing. Just have fun. Enjoy your teammates. Cherish those relationships. And then, when it's time to get dialed in, we always had a clock running. And so we'd let them know when it's 10 minutes to go back out. Let's start dialing back in mentally and get down there and get warmed up and go. And I commended them because that is hard. And it does get late. I don't care what side of the score you're on. And they came back 3 different times, as we call it, first half, second half, and third half. Every time our guys are ready to play and we're focused, had some energy. There wasn't a whole lot of people there at the very end, but the guys in purple on that sideline were still, tuned in and playing and having energy and just being really focused in the game. And that completely showed with the outcome.
X's and O's wise, what adjustments did you have to make due to the weather?
Not much. We talked about, maybe some things in the kicking game, but it never got real wet. There's mainly just a lot of lightning. I thought our coaches did a great job of making some adjustments. We hit them with 2 big explosive plays after a couple of those breaks. Just, going back, you've got the iPads, and so you get tired of watching it after a while. Even coaches need to, hey, go have some fun and just relax. We had our post-game party midway through the third quarter. We had all that food and everything else. All our families were there, so we hung out and ate and, made the most of it. But before that, the coaches, I thought, did a really good job studying what Nicholls was giving us. And we put in a couple of adjustments and a bender route that we hadn't even practiced, but the way they were playing us. And so that helped, extend the lead a little bit there. So was pleased with everybody involved with it, from our game ops people, administrators, our coaches, our players, just everybody sticking with it, cheer and dance, and they were there to the bitter end. I sent the band home. LMB, you guys have been here forever. Y'all work your tails off. There's nobody really to play here. I told Dr. Haddad, I said, get them home. Enjoy homecoming. And we almost had a big crowd. If we could have had one more delay. I was talking to Kevin White, who owns Bonita Creek Dance Hall. We had a deal going. We were giving them free admission at closing time, free admission to come back and all the beer you can drink. We didn't have any beer. He said, I'll supply it. So we almost had a ruckus crowd there if we'd have played a little bit longer and everything. But all in all, just a really good night.
So looking ahead, East Texas A&M, what do you expect from them?
This will be a challenge this week. This will be a tough matchup for us. Everybody's going to look, that's coach speak. They're 2-5. Their record is 2-5, but they're about 14 points away from being 5-2. And I look more at conference, and they are one call / decision made. You watch. Everybody saw the bad beat against Lamar. On Scott Van Pelt. There's just one decision, one call in there that goes the other way. Is a little controversial. It's 3-0 versus 3-0, in Southland Conference play, and these guys are, because of that, the way that game ended, they're 2-1. So we're walking into their place. Their back's against the wall, but they still see a path to a conference championship. They just got to handle their business. So I know we're going to get their best. I think they're a much improved and a much better team physically, athletically than what we saw last year, which was good enough to beat us. That was the game that we went up there and got our tails beat, cost us a trip to the playoffs. And so I know that's last year, but you got to see what you're going up against. Offensively, these guys are very talented up front. I think they do a great job with their O-line, probably the best O-line we faced, since Houston in terms of just O-line and well coached, bodies on bodies. The receiving core is very athletic. They play very fast. And you look at what they've done. They've put up over 500 yards two of the last 3 games, 40 points, 3 times now. And what they just did I think we've got a really good offense. And we went down to Incarnate Word, and I think we scored 31 points and had 350 yards offense. They just went down a week later and put up 52 points and 550 yards offense. And so I've told our defense, we're going to find out what we're really made of this week, trying to slow that group down. And so we're going to have to play a much cleaner game to have a chance. Those are things from the Nicholls game that I was really disappointed in, was our ball, taking care of the football. We lost the turnover margin by 2, and then penalties. We took 14 points off the board with penalties, and so that's 14 points you're going to need this week. We had, speaking of turnover margin, 2 of those turnovers were in the red zone. And that's again, 14 points the way I see it. Call it 6 if you settle for field goals. But, we cannot play sloppy like that in terms of taking care of the football. We got to create more turnovers defensively. And then we've got to clean some things up with penalties right now, because the games are getting bigger. Competition's getting better, and that's going to come back to bite you in the rear end if you don't clean that up.
Yeah, you mentioned the loss last year. How much motivation can you draw from that to make sure things are different this time around?
Not much. This isn't about last year. I think we say it all the time. You win or you learn. And I think, we learned some things last year. We do have a lot of guys that have returned from that team. And so that's in the back of their mind in terms of knowing you better be ready to play each and every week. That was a tough one on the road. We'd lost our quarterback, and that didn't lose us the game. We just didn't play well. I didn't do a very good job getting the team ready to play. That's embarrassing as a head coach. Your team's a reflection of you, and I did not have us prepared. And so, I think every one of us, from head coach down to the last man on the bus, learned from those experiences last year. And I think our team has been much more focused, through the season so far this year. I think we've still, we're getting better at things each and every week, which is what you want to see them improving. But, they went out and made the plays last year, and so that's why we didn't win the game. We didn't go to the playoffs. And so I think our guys still look back this year, there's still a taste in their mouth from that locker room in Abilene. And that's a really good team. Abilene's a playoff team, a conference championship team, and contending for that in UAC. And that's what it feels like. You got to hate to lose more than you love to win. And so I think that's something. And again, back to Abilene, we talked about them this morning. They went out and played a 2-5 team, Southern Utah, who had lost 4 games by like 3 points or less, very close to being a 6-1 team or whatever it is. And they turned the ball over 4 times. Outrushed them, outgained them, 450 to 250. I mean, completely dominated the game, lost the turnover margin, and didn't play their best, and took an L on the road. And so you've got to learn from other people through this game and learn from your own mistakes of the past. And so hopefully that bodes well for the Lumberjacks in terms of having a great week of preparation. And they know we're still behind where we want to be. If we play like we did Saturday, you're going to be great. No, if we play like we did Saturday, even if we were to end up in the playoffs or we play a tougher team, you're going to get your tail beat by 3 touchdowns or worse. You've got to clean those things up, and don't be a good team. Be a great team. Be a dominant team. Defensively, I thought we played well. Everybody's like, your defense killed them. Well, the first drive, they marched right down our throat and ended up 1st and goal on the 7. We had a turnover that ended that drive. They got 65 yards that drive, and we didn't finish the game. I'm tired of not finishing games in a dominant position, offense, defense, special teams. We looked like an 8th grade team out there, some in that everybody else was asleep, but I was still watching it, and we're fumbling the ball, not operating offensively, and gave up a 79-yard drive. And that's you take away the first and the last drive of the game defensively, we held them to 43 total yards. That's dominant football. And that's what we've got to be the team that we can be. That's what we got to be able to do for 60 minutes. And so that's where it's a challenge for us as coaches and as players to be a mature team, to keep getting better, to seize each opportunity. And when I say each opportunity, that's Monday. We got to have the best Monday we've had yet. And then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and put it all together. Hopefully have a good showing on Saturday out there at East Texas A&M. Old ET, they can finally. I mean, we tried. I used to get in trouble coaching up there. I'd wear the East Texas jersey all the time. Our name was A&M Commerce. They finally got it right. It's old ET now.
Yeah, Coach, and we talked about it a little bit in the off season, how much of an impact Bugs Mortimer had made during spring camp, summer ball, and things like that. Obviously, had the punt return touchdown last night. SC top 10 had a punt return touchdown, I believe, called back in the first
You are
half
correct.
as well. Just talk about the impact he's been able to make, not just offensively, but in the special teams, obviously as well.
That was the reason we brought him on board. Is we just saw an elite return man, and we knew he'd probably help us offensively as well. And he's battled some injuries this year, but when he's been out there, he has been very electric. And woo, was he not Saturday night? I mean, that was incredible. Sports Center top 10. I think we're the only team in the country who's had back-to-back games when we had a player make Sports Center top 10, which is pretty cool. But what a fantastic return. And more importantly, what a fantastic job by the 10 other guys on that field. I mean, we work special teams. We do Lions and Gazelles every single Thursday. I mean, we are continuing to work on our craft. Nick Nelson, our special teams coordinator, does a great job. Jared May, our passing game coordinator, quarterback coach, he's in charge of punt return. I mean, that's his job. That's his baby. And so we spread the wealth with in terms of how we run our special teams from a staff standpoint. And those guys do a great job. All the guys on the field do a great job. Bugs is, bless you, his return speaks for itself, but the blocking is what was really showcased. He had another one that was called back. Cam Kelly was just dominating this guy, and you've got to reset your hands. It's a good call by the officiating crew, but that was a 50, 60-yarder that was called back. And then the last one, I mean, he breaks it again, and we've knocked the punter down. The punter's on the ground, and from the ground, that punter makes a tackle. I mean, we busted, Bugs' tail today just making fun of the guy. You let a punter on the ground tackle you, I mean, but he's exciting, and that's a good unit, and they apply pressure each week, and so we're going to need another good performance by him and everybody in the special teams facet to give us a chance to, be in a position to win this one Saturday.
Yeah, Coach, and you talked about going through some of these delays obviously last night. Do you have any interesting stories from any of them? Like, what's the longest delay that you've been a part of?
Woo, well, I mean, we played one at the previous school I was at. It's called Texas A&M Commerce. It's called East Texas A&M now, and we got one called at halftime. It was tied. It's a big conference rival against Midwestern, 10-10 at halftime. We call it. Everybody goes home. We stay trying to work things out. We're going to try to find it. There was no hotels around. Long story short, very long story. We end up playing the next day at 2 p.m. We meet at North Texas. It was called Apogee Stadium at the time. And we ended up, I think, blocking a field goal at the end of the game to win that one, whatever it was, 26 hours later. And so as we knew this weather was coming, as soon as we hit that first break, I had our ops team. We were on the horn trying to help Nicholls out, finding them hotels. There wasn't a hotel within 100 miles of here because of homecoming. There's a lot going on. And we had them 81 rooms up in Shreveport at Louisiana Live, booked and reserved. If this thing got, delayed out to 1, 2 o'clock, or if it wasn't we weren't gonna get it in. We're fixing to, send Nicholls there, have them help them. I mean, we're on the road. It's tough, and that's what you should do. Support each other, South and Strong, everything else. I mean, we're all in this thing together. Get the game in for the kids. So I thought we may end up playing that one Sunday afternoon. We got it done Sunday morning. Took us 2 days. We finally beat them.
What is the rule with that? Is there an official
rule? Is you have to play 3 quarters. Once you've played 3 quarters, you can call it as an official game. If you're up by 21 points or more, you can call it. If it's less than 21, you've got to mutually agree. All right, and so if it were to have got delayed there or postponed before that time, then you start it over, the next day right where it sits. So if it's halfway through the second quarter with 6 minutes to go, you put the ball down, hash, yard line, 2nd and 6, and you resume play. So that's the rule on that. And it changes a little. That's got to play 3 quarters NCAA rule, but conferences have a little bit different, but that's what we play by.
Okay.
Awesome,
Coach.
Thank you guys. Action.
Bugs, appreciate you joining us, man. We're just going to have a couple questions for you here.
Okay.
So first of all, what were y'all doing during all those weather delay breaks and to stay focused and energized?
We were just in the locker room, just team bonding, spending time with each other. Just chopping up, listening to some music. A couple of guys were playing pool. So yeah, we were just doing a lot of team bonding in that moment.
And so take me through the punt return. Like, what did you see there? And then were you ever, when you crossed that goal line, were there any flags on the play?
So I watch a lot of film. So he's obviously he was a right-footed punter, and he normally kicked to the left hash. So he kicked in the middle of the field, and then I just tried to take it back to the other side, and I seen like my guys, the 10 guys blocking, and they're setting up blocks, and then I was able to get back to the field and just took it home for a touchdown. And then when I looked back, I was so happy I didn't see a flag.
Did you end up seeing that? Because I know the punt return you had was on the ESPN or the SportsCenter Top 10. Did you end up seeing that? What did you think of that?
I did. I ended up seeing that. I was kind of just thanking God in that moment for just allowing me to be able to, everyone to see what I can do.
Yeah, man, and we're over halfway through the season. Are you transferring in this year? How do you feel like everything has gone? Obviously on the 5-game winning streak, so it's got to be feeling pretty good.
It's feeling pretty good. Just being able to contribute and do everything that I can, making the most of my opportunities. I feel like we have a dominant group, and I believe in these guys every day. So I just try to put my best foot forward, just get them everything I got.
I'm good. Yeah.
Perfect, man. Appreciate you both. Thanks for joining us. Jay, appreciate you joining us, man. We'll get
Appreciate
some
you having
questions
us.
for you.
For having me.
Yeah, man. So first of all, what were you doing during your during those delays?
Man, I was not a whole lot. The first delay I just sat there. I was just quiet for however long it was, an hour. I wasn't on my phone or nothing, I was just focusing. I was like, we got to go back out. We got to execute still, Second time around, I was like, all right, I got to find something to do, I went in and watched some film, watched what we had already played through, which was, advantage of being home. I was thinking, maybe Nicholls didn't have the opportunity to do that at the time. And, I had already watched the whole first half. That second time we went in, I had already watched the whole first half. So, it was good to be able to see and be able to correct and, what can we do to get better and finish the game.
Right. And Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Week, right?
He was honorable mention.
Yeah, honorable mention, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Really?
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you, I didn't even know that. It's good, just got to keep on executing. We've talked about it some. I expect it out of myself, but it's not just me. We expect it out of each other as a whole defense, and we had a good game, but a ton of us had a good game, and that's we like having good games, good games are always a goal, but we want to be great, and so I just it makes me feel good. Don't get me wrong, I love going out there and playing and having a great game. But I just, everybody does,
How disappointed were you though when that call got back?
Oh, man. Man, I was tired. It was a long drive. It was a long run down there. And, I wasn't too, like I said, I wasn't too upset. But, mistakes affect the whole team. And, Eli was more upset about it than anybody because it was on him. But like I said, mistakes or whatever you want to call it affect the whole team. Offense got out there and scored. So, I wasn't too worried about it. And then I told him he owed me one. Whatever it was, he owed me something. And, next drive, he got a sack. So, and he said, that one's for you. And I said, I knew he was going to get it back. I wasn't worried about it. Offense went out there and executed and scored and got 7 out of it. So, I can't be too upset. Can't be too upset.
Yeah, and was this kind of the first time you've ever gone through the delay like this, especially like the multiple delays?
Second time, my freshman year in Alcorn, it might have been worse than this one. It was probably about the same. We didn't get done until, 1 or 2. So, at the time, I was young. I was traveling, which was, fun for me. But a little bit different roles from then compared to now. And, nobody enjoys the super long, game all night long necessarily, and having to sit around waiting. But it happens, and you gotta just continue to do what you can to every time we come back out. come out and execute and be elite. You know.
Got a couple for you here, Jaydon. First off, we've had a chance to talk with you before, and you mentioned how much obviously hard work went into kind of being able to put you in the position that you're in this year.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything specifically that you draw on from your first couple of years, kind of where you're just grinding through, waiting for that opportunity?
Yeah, man. I hold on to the guys that, whether they know it or not. I mean, I got the guys on top of my head. I hold close the guys that were examples for me, and so going into every day, I'm thinking, how can I be an example? How can I make the guy underneath me better? It's not. I mean, we want to selfishly say, I want to get better every day. But if I can somehow improve the guy underneath me, then I'm getting better as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And then one more for you here. Obviously, another big one because it's the next one, right? You got to go on the road, got to go up to Commerce. Is there something, I guess, you tap into a little bit something else when you're on the road, knowing that, hey, there's going to be maybe a little less purple in the stands. It's kind of SFA versus all y'all type mentality. Like, what's it like playing on the road in Southland?
Man, it really does. This year I've realized that the atmosphere does affect it a little bit. And I just said, being home and being able to have the advantage of being able to watch the first half when we were getting delays, it's helped me in the second. We come as a team though, It's like we know we have each other, and there is a home field advantage, and but I mean, we know we got each other, and we have, whether it's a few people or no SFA fans, we got to bring our own energy regardless, whether it's a huge crowd and you got 20,000 people or it's none, and we try to make that a set point every week to have our own energy that we can feed off of it and feed off of each other.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, bro.